Good day, good day. See Nagato Kells here again with another pilot episode of the Scouting Report. And on this episode of the Scouting Report, I will first discuss the structure of this podcast, and I also will be giving my picks for tonight's fight between Alexander Usyk, Daniel Dubois, Bakadir Jalolov on Friday, Jared Anderson and Andrew Rudeko, Oscar Collazo and Garen Digon, Efe Ajaba and Zhan Kosabuski. Also, I will be discussing some bare basics of what it takes to become an amateur boxer. Yet, first thing first, let's make this a staple of this podcast. Anyone with two hands and a heartbeat has a chance. I'm not going to rule out anyone. I'm not going to call anyone a bum because no fighter is a bum once they step into that ring. That's just what it is. We shouldn't be calling fighter bums. You call a bum someone who doesn't have any type of motivation and no type of dedication. They obviously have motivation and dedication because they step foot in that ring. So let's keep it respectful and honorable. Now, in terms of the structure of this podcast, I first will be giving my picks, how I feel they will win, my percentages, and the strategies of each fighter for them to win. So let's start with the first, Usyk versus Dubois. I feel Usyk should pick up the pace after the fourth round, after figuring out how he can establish his jab against Dubois. Dubois has a tendency, he does it a lot, walk straight in the center line when he punches, and as soon as Usyk figure out how to operate around that, is going to be Usyk's night. And I feel he may even stop him because he's going to be continuously running into a jab and other combinations. Now, Daniel Dubois, he needs to be busy all night long. He needs to be using his jab, jabbing away from the center line, and never allowing Usyk to think about anything. Round 1 to round 12, throwing punches, moving around, never staying in the center line, using proper punching technique. The reason why and how he tore his ACL in his last fight because he went to throw a left hook, didn't use proper technique, and tore his own ACL. This is how come and why they teach us to throw proper punches. I will be an advocate for proper technique no matter what fighter it is, whether if I like them or not. I will always be an advocate for proper technique. So, that being said, may the best man win. On to the next fight I'm scouting. Jalolov and Otorade. Jalolov should win, granted he's being himself. He should fight tall and aggressively tall, continuously use his jab, and continue to counter his opponent's lazy jab, his crappy jab. And from there, those things should lead to combinations which should lead to a KO. Now, his opponent, Otorade, he needs to establish a good jab, a very good jab from the very beginning. He should throw feints to make Jalolov anxious, so he should lunge in. Jalolov has a habit of overcommitting when he throws his jab and his overhand left. So those feints should make him want to overcommit and make him feel anxious. And when that happens, Onorade should be throwing his jab and that uppercut that he likes to throw so much. So, with all that being said, may the best man win. On to the next fight I'm scouting. Oscar Collazo and Garen Digon. Oscar just needs to be himself. Establish a ring presence from the very beginning, have smart pressure. His opponent never had to turn up the way he's turning up in his fights, so it should lead to a KO, if not a unanimous decision. Again, just be smart with your jab, move around, continuously pick up the pace like you normally do. Now, his opponent, though, Garen, he needs to not start with a lazy jab. His jab needs to be fast, quick, and a very good stiff jab. He needs to do that because Collazo has a habit of breaking his own base with the way he moves around the ring. And when an opponent breaks their base the way they do and you have a well-timed jab, you can time them because they're a rhythm fighter. You know when and where they're going to be throwing punches, and you can slow down the pace because you're stopping them within their rhythm. That's what Garen needs to do. And on top of that, when they get on the inside, Garen needs to be going to the body, then moving out of the way, slow the pace down again. Yet, with all that being said, may may the best man win. On to the next fight I'm scouting. F.A. Ajaba and Zhan Kosobuski. Sorry for butchering that name, your name. F.A. needs to fight on the outside the entire fight. Normally, with a fighter like that he's fighting, I would say to fight going towards and out on the outside of the opponent's lead foot. Yet since FA's feet aren't as educated as his opponent, it'll probably play into his opponent's hands and play into his opponent's strength. So I say consistently use the jab on the outside, consistently fight tall, and stay out of the center line. The second Zhan decides to move straight in the center line, throw the right hand fast, whether if you land or not. If you land, good. If you don't, move. If you land, good, then move. Stay out of the center line if you want to win this fight. Zhan, he needs to be himself. He needs to be awkward. He needs to keep that his base the way he keeps it so well, which enables him to counter out of nowhere. Most fighters don't keep their base, which is how come they aren't countering the way they want to counter. He keeps a good base. He's also undefeated. He has some power to him, and he can box. He needs to stick to his strengths and don't fight in the center line like he normally does. I feel F.A. Ajaba is the second hardest hitter in boxing today next to Deontay Wilder. So you don't want to even be touched by that guy. So again, stay out of the center line and be yourself. With that being said, may the best man win. On to Jared Anderson and Andriy Rudenko. Now, Jared Anderson needs to not fight this fight the way he did the last fight. He needs to establish a ring presence, establish a well-timed jab from the very beginning. He had an opponent in front of him that didn't have good foot placement, and he didn't take advantage of that. So in this fight, he should use his higher boxing IQ and his better athletics against his opponent, and not to use his reflex as his main line of defense, because sometimes he leaves himself open when he uses his reflex as a main line of defense. So he needs to establish a good jab from the very beginning, throw well-placed combinations, and he should get the win easy, provided he's boxing the way he should and the way he knows how to. Now, Rudenko, he needs to be aggressive and throw a lot of punches. Don't allow Jared to think at all. Continuously look to pick up the pace and look to capitalize on Jared mistakes. Jared, sometimes he tends to hop backwards to get away from the attack, then hop right back into the same spot he was just getting away from, and his opponent didn't go anywhere. That's where he is open. That's where you will look to throw combinations, and that's where you will look to pick up the pace. That being said, may the best man win. So there you have it, the strategies of victories for each fighter I'm looking forward to tonight. The fight I'm looking forward to the most is F.A. Ajaba's fight, because I want to see if he's learned anything from his previous fights. Yeah, all in all, may the best man win. Now, on to what it takes to become a boxer on an amateur level. Amateur level. First thing first, sprinting and jogging. Two vital exercises for any amateur. They teach the mind endurance and dedication. It also teaches the body to breathe at a higher heart rate. As an amateur, jog at least 3 miles for 3 days in a 7-day cycle. Sprint for at least 1 minute for 6 sets, 2 days out of a 7-day cycle. You want to be doing 250 push-ups a day, 500 reps of any ab exercise that doesn't hurt your back, long-term or short-term. You want to be doing at least 250 dips, pull-ups, and chin-ups for 5 days straight with 2-day rest from those specific exercises. And let's not forget abs every day. Abs every day, abs every day. Find a good gym. What I mean by that is when you walk into a boxing gym, you should see posters of fighters and famous fights. You should see people training like no one's around. You should see coaches, trainers, teachers correcting their students on the things that they're doing. You should see sparring being directed and corrected. You should also see some hard sparring sometimes. Every now and then you should see some blood in the ring, evidence of people focusing on their craft with a lot of heart, with a lot of dedication. So also realize that every single day is different. Every single day isn't going to be as easy as the previous day, yet you must remain smart and consistent in your training. Remember, stay smart and consistent. Consistency is key as well as being smart. So that's all I have for today. And on the next pilot episode of the Scouting Report, I will be breaking down the styles and techniques of David Benavidez and Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade and who I have winning that fight. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Peace. Have a great day.